30. Page 130. Now this is going to be confusing, so let's spend some time going through what this place is, and then we'll explain a little bit more. We're going to go in, we're going to look at something down low, and then we're going to go up on the roof. Okay, so on page 130, you see in the picture on the right, you see the border. The border, we're in Israel right now after 1948. And then on the other side of that wall, you're in Jordan until 1967 when that was taken. Okay? So in 1948, there was a building up here that was already known. Look here in that first paragraph, 1859, Herodi, however you pronounce his name, went up and saw something up here. He said this, he said, "I discovered by means of an examination I made from the exterior of the building, the walls of an ancient Jewish building, mixed in the parts above the floor with later construction, which had been inserted during repairs." Okay, so you see an old drawing from the early 1900s of this building and the masonry, and then you see the picture that I took of it, and you can still see the masonry in there that's in the drawing. You see that? So down at the bottom we have a building that's really, really old, and then as you move up you see the masonry from later buildings. Okay, so what we're interested in most is this really old building that you see preserved here in the masonry. And so, let's see. So this building that you're seeing the pictures of here was damaged in the 1948 war. And so an archaeologist was sent in. If you keep your thumb in that first page and flip over to 134, his name is Pinkerfield. Okay, and so this is a summary by a scholar of Pinkerfield's conclusions. That first quote there. So he says this: Pinkerfield reached the conclusion that the chamber, or the niche, and if you flip your finger back over, that's what these three Jewish guys are in front of. So you see that niche? That's what we're going to go in to look at. Okay, you see the big stones in the niche? That's part of this original niche called a Torah ark. Remember when we were in Machpelah, we looked at that big wood structure up there, and I was saying that's a Torah ark, and that's where they keep the scrolls. So in this niche is where they kept the scrolls. So if we go back over, it says Pinkerfield reached the conclusion that the chamber represents a synagogue erected in the first centuries after the destruction of the Second Temple. So right after 70 AD. He based this on the following factors. The construction is Roman. The niche faces the temple site. Okay, so the Temple Mount is right over there. Like the niches found in the synagogue at these two other places. Okay? So that makes sense, because that's how synagogues were built. If they're built outside of Jerusalem, most typically, not always, but most commonly, then their Torah arks point to Jerusalem. And if they're built in Jerusalem, then their Torah arks point to the temple. Okay, so 70 AD destruction, and then a synagogue is built. So the first thing that we're going to do, and we'll go over the rest up on the roof because of what we can see up there, but what we're going to do now is we're going to walk into a synagogue. We're going to have to split up, women on one side and men on the other. And so I don't know what it looks like on the women's side, but you'll be able to look up over a barrier here at this Torah ark, this ancient Torah ark. And you'll want to look down at the bases for the big stones. I know you can see them really well over on the men's side. I don't know what it looks like on the women's side, but the big stones that are part of this building that was built, the synagogue that was built after the 70 AD destruction. Okay? And then I want you to think about where that niche is pointing. while you're in there. Okay?
The women go in that
Women,
Do you know where it is? The apps, is it through there?
this is your inside of an ancient synagogue built just after the 70 AD construction.